It's Thursday, March 20th, and this is Higher Ed Live. I'm your host, Ashley Budd, and I am live here in Marina del Rey, California at the CASE Social Media and Community Conference. I'm here with a fantastic group of speakers and faculty members, and we're going to bring a little bit of this sunshine to you back in your offices all across the country and give you an inside scoop of what's happening here at CASESMC. None of this would be possible without our fantastic sponsors, so I do want to take a moment to thank the sponsors of Higher Ed Live. We are sponsored by Omni Update, the leading CMS for higher education, FormStack, who has the tools that you need to start capturing data with online forms, and Stoner, a marketing and communications firm who works exclusively with higher education. So today we will be chatting with first Mayan Plout. And Mayan is here from Oberlin College. She's speaking on a number of topics. Can you share a little bit about the presentations that you're giving?
Yeah, so this morning I talked about figuring out what kind of content your community wants and how you craft things accordingly. And tomorrow I'm speaking about figuring out your school's narrative.
Figuring out your school's narrative. Yeah, so you are certainly known to be a content expert in higher education, always pushing the limits to what people might be interested in, things that we probably wouldn't traditionally have thought of. Can you share a little bit of what you shared this morning?
Yeah, so this morning it was a little bit more theoretical. This is a way to encourage yourself to try and do a little bit different stuff than you might have been doing before. That includes the fact that right now we're living in an attention economy. That means that anything that's happening anywhere can be distracting or catching the attention of your audience, which happens to be the audience of many, many things all at the same time. So cat videos, that is where people's attention happen to be going, maybe not our school's website. So in a lot of ways, the attitude is how can we make the things that we do a lot more social and a lot more interesting, so it's not just the college speaking about all things, but something that happens to be relevant and interesting and timely.
And I've seen that theme throughout several kind of side conversations that were happening during our breaks. What's your experience like been so far at the conference?
Oh my gosh, I love CASESMC. I probably shouldn't gush too much, but I love CASESMC. The conversation is actually the reason why I love it. I have met so many people simply because of the conversations that get started because of the things that we're talking about and hearing about. Twitter really helps with that. That CASESMC hashtag is amazing. It's where all of the great conversations have started the last couple days, so I'm enjoying it.
Thank you so much. For those of you who are tuning in from maybe your desks or homes, the CASESMC hashtag is something that doesn't just happen during the conference, but it's shared year-round. And I would encourage you to take a peek at that, as this conference is in its 5th year, and I'm sure it will still be going strong for years to come. Our next speaker is Steph St. Martin from Boston College. And Steph, you're also doing a few presentations here at CASE. Can you share what you've spoken about so far?
Yeah, of course. I did this morning, keeping the social and social media. So really talking about having engaging conversations, how looking at hashtags, and their invitations to talk. A request to join is an invitation to talk to someone, so really just being alert to what those are. And I just recently spoke about SEO and how you can really help out your school just by getting on volumes and just being aware of all the things to make you more easily loved by Google.
Awesome. And so I think SEO is for a lot of people who get into social media for the warm and fuzzy engagement of it all. Some of the more technical search-driven tools that you can use or analytics that you can be watching are things that a lot of us really struggle with. So would you be able to share any of your kind of one or two key pointers for those that want to learn a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so basically one of the things you need to know about SEO is metadata. So the first thing I would tell people is when you think about creating a website, make sure you know what the title is, keep it under 60 characters, make sure you know what the keywords are, keep it under 7 keywords, and then know what the description is, no longer than a tweet, so 140 characters. And as I say that, you're like, well, what is that? Use Harry Potter. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is your title. Your keywords are going to be wizard, science fiction, quest, all those great things. And then in your description, you're going to use those words. So Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets is about a wizard at Hogwarts who is on this adventure quest. And it really makes your web pages kind of follow that same track. The other tip I would give people is Google yourself. I always do Boston College, and then I do every letter of the alphabet. So I know what are the top 4 searches that are automated or coming up on Google. So Boston College A, Boston College B, Boston College C. By doing this, I know what's going on, and I know where we're missing content that people actually want and need. So it's quick little tips. It's a lot of fun.
Great tips. Thanks so much, Steph. We're going to be talking about several presentations that have already taken place, that are going to be taking place, but there are so much more that happen, and you can actually follow along the dialogues that are being captured during the live presentations if you are following on Twitter, or if you're not a Twitter user, you can even look at tagboard.com/CASESMC to see across all social media platforms the conversations that are taking place here. There's links to great content. A lot of our presenters are sharing videos and even their own slide decks outside of the CASE conference. So please feel free to check that out. It was fantastic speaking with Steph and Mayan, and I want to welcome Michael Stoner to HigherEdLive.
Hi, Ashley. Hello.
And Michael is here presenting an annual research project that you've been doing from the start of CASESMC. So it's really a nice piece to share with everyone.
It's provided one type of continuity over the past 5 years because each year we presented the results from the survey of social media and advancement that CASE and Huron Education and M. Stoner have partnered on. So I did that presentation yesterday with Jennifer Mack, who's a senior research associate at Huron.
And I think it's so rare to see that kind of in-depth research carried out year after year at a conference in the format that you present it.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's important. One of the reasons that we do this is that we want people to be able to link the cool stuff that they're doing on Instagram or YouTube or some of the other channels that everybody gets real excited about. We want them to link that to a larger objective and a bigger goal, and just keep in mind that it's nice to get touches and shares, but what you're really trying to do is achieve something for your institution. And I think that presenting this kind of research provides a perspective, about that larger vision.
And Michael, I know that you're planning to release a white paper with the results, but would you be willing to share with our online viewers some of the things maybe one thing that stood out to you?
Well, I think 2 things. First of all, there are about 59% of institutions are using social media as part of the campaign, and that's just not fundraising. It's a larger campaign structured to achieve a goal, which is pretty significant at this point. And the second is that 46% of leaders are using social media in their role as leaders of a school, college, or university. And that to me is hugely significant, that leaders see the value of engagement in social media. Many of them use Twitter. The majority use Twitter. They might use other things, but I think it's 25% use Twitter. But they see the value of personally being out there, personally engaging with people, and personally being active on social channels, which is really great.
Well, Michael, I'm so looking forward to the white paper release.
The best part is having written. That's right. So,
thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
I have to bring Tiffany from William and Mary up here. She gave a fantastic presentation yesterday, and I hope that you'll share a little bit of the work that you've been doing at William & Mary and your new open source project.
Yes, that's definitely the part that I'm the most excited to kind of make public. So what my talk was about was trying to manage all of the social media managers on campus. And what I started out with was going through the guidelines that we offer all of the managers and just have sort of the general basic rules written down, but then going into more of the kind of proactive stuff. We maintain a social media directory at William & Mary, and we've decided to make that publicly available, open source, and the link is definitely floating around the CASESMC hashtag, and I'm sure it will be up on a couple other spots. And so please download it, let me know what you think. please use it. And if you have any questions, let me know. And then sort of the follow-up to that was you have all of those emails from all of the different people that are your managers in that social media directory to then turn that into a social media users group and try and just get people on campus, get them talking about social media, get them sharing their problems and their ideas, either completely virtually with an email list or a Facebook group or in person in an actual meeting, but trying to break down those silos that we always talk about and really get people talking.
Exactly. Well, I'm so thankful for the open source project, and we'll be sure to put that in the archive of this video on HigherEdLive.com. So if you're looking for the link, it will be there for you. I just want to take a second to ask you a little bit about if you could share what the experience of being here in Marina del Rey at this conference has been like.
It's been amazing, especially coming from the East Coast where you kept getting buried in snow and ice and freezing cold things. To come out here, get some vitamin D, get some sunshine was so, so nice. And it's been great to meet with so many different people at all different levels of their organizations and being able to just have a bagel with them in the morning or talk with them outside of one of the sessions after a break, and just being able to really connect with folks, and on a conference that's so focused on just social media. That's sort of the first time I've ever really been to a conference that does that, so it's been a great experience.
Thank you, Tiffany. I can't agree more about the sunshine, but something that really strikes me about this conference and many of the CASE conferences is the global reach that it has. And we have folks not just coming over from the East Coast, but we have representation from Switzerland, Lebanon, and the Middle East. And it's great to hear what's happening with social media, not just in the US, but internationally. Our next speaker is Jed, and he's here from GiveGab, which is a startup company, and I hope you would give us a little intro to what it is you're working on, what it is you're presenting here.
Absolutely. So we're GiveGab. We're the social network for volunteers. And we're a social network that allows you to find opportunities that match your skills, interests, and causes you care about. On the school side, you can use that to facilitate volunteering on your campus to create a hub of communication about those opportunities and then track all of that data. So schools can get their students on board and get them volunteering. And then as those students graduate, they'll become alumni and you can stay connected with them.
One of the nicest pieces I think about your platform is the introduction that the user has when they first enter the site, and it really makes that kind of emotional connection with them as soon as they start clicking. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we try to make it very fun. So there are monsters all over the site. And you go through process of saying what are the causes you care about, whether it's children, youth and arts and culture, disaster relief, then the skills. I talk a lot, so I'm a wordsmith, and I like to write, and I like fitness, and then going into interests, so that when you are engaging with opportunities, they are opportunities that are engaging because you've been matched that way. And so I talked about in my presentation how it's so important for autonomy when you're getting your students and alumni engaged, and that's how we do that. They get to put input in, and then you get to match them.
And I think when we talk about social media, we're often trying to relate to our people in a more personal way, and having this kind of information that we can kind of glean from a site like yours is one way that we can start building different kinds of personas of our alumni and other constituents.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here, Jed, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Last but not least, I have the chair, as he is known. The one and only Keith Hannon is here with us. He's the Case Social Media Conference chair this year. He's put this fantastic group of faculty together. And Keith, it's been, I know a lot of work on your part, but hopefully a lot of fun too. Can you share a little bit of that behind the scenes experience?
Yes. It has been a little bit of work. I feel like I have to give a tip of the cap to Jen Litchie, who's probably done more work than me, but I think it's applause. I mean, we are at the Ritz-Carlton in Marina del Rey, right? So I had no impact on that. So I think that's going to be 80% of the reason the conference was successful. But I think that it has been fun because you really get a chance to meet speakers and spend time talking with speakers that you typically don't get to on a regular basis. Yes, there's Twitter, but actually getting to talk with people specifically about their passions and what they want to present on, it's been a really fun process to let people just kind of let loose. And in picking speakers, I just wanted to find people that we're passionate about a topic and then tie that topic back to a central theme. So I didn't want to create the theme and say, you have to come up with a presentation that fits my idea. I want to take what you're passionate about and tie that into, we'll find a way to weave that into a central theme. And I think that's really come out in the presentation. I think everyone has been dynamic and animated and passionate, and it's been fun to watch that.
Well, I need to ask you then, what are you passionate about and what are you speaking about? Because you do have several talks.
Oh, yeah, what I'm
week.
passionate about, what I'm speaking about are not always aligned, but in this case, I'm really passionate about drawing connections between social media engagement and fundraising. I think it can be done and it should be done, and I think it's going to be important for people working in social media to continue to do that if we want to be taken as seriously as we hope to be taken. And if we want to get more pilot projects greenlit, we need to show that we're working hard to align with what everyone else at our institution is doing. We can't look at ourselves as living in this separate bubble, and just trust us, we know what we're doing, and it's valuable. Take our word for it. We need to show how we're aligned with the rest of the division, and that usually an advancement always comes down to fundraising. So you can't run from it. I think you need to embrace it, and I think it can actually be done in a fun way. I mean, it's relationship building. That's the business we're in, and then I personally think that's fun. And then you get to say, oh, by the way, it turns out the people we're creating relationships with have the ability to really advance our institution financially, and here they are for you. So I think we just need to change the narrative in terms of how we, as I was saying today, we shouldn't feel icky about being part of fundraising. We should be excited by it.
And I think it's so important to have all of these very creative people who are creating content and building relationships in the room together start thinking about how they can impact our institutions as a business.
Right.
Because we know many higher education institutions' business models aren't the most sustainable business models around. So if we can think about how we can build a solid pipeline of donors, people who are passionate about keeping our institutions here for a little bit longer, we're really doing our own alma maters and our own institutions a favor.
Yeah, and I think one thing that gets kind of lost in the shuffle and is underestimated is the fact that all these social media relationships are typically opt-in. So we're not cold calling people to come to our Facebook page or join our LinkedIn group. They're doing that on their own because they want to be part of that alma mater community. And so right there is a much better start than, so hey, we came up with your name in Nexus Lexus, and turns out you have a lot of property on Cape Cod, and let's talk money. So to actually create a relationship with people and get to know them and promote them and add value to them seems like a much better way to go about making an ask of them in the future. I think social media has a tremendous opportunity to add value back to alumni, and then I think once we've done that, then there's some great benefits that will come with it from an advancement.
It's so true, and adding value is really what it's all about, what we're here to do. And I want to thank you, Keith, for bringing us all here, bringing us together. And I want to thank those of you who are tuning in on HigherEdLive. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.